Hey there guys, and welcome to another FPV guide video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a new product from Walkera. It's a new mini quad racer, 250 size, that really shows how far and fast Walkera has moved in designing new and much more competent mini quad FPV quads. So I can't really show you all of it because this is a completely white box design. So let's just break into it and I'll show you what's inside and we'll talk about the parts. And I can tell you right now, of course, as usual, I've already flown this. It is incredibly stable. It flies great. It is well balanced and it comes with CleanFight already installed. So I literally just plugged it into a PC and pulled it right up, and I was able to assign the stick settings I like to fly with. They're a little bit different than the typical Walkera settings, but it comes B&F in the box here, ready to fly, looking kind of like this for about $330. That right there makes it a very interesting mini quad because $330 don't get you a whole lot in the marketplace for ready to fly mini quads with a radio, propellers, chargers, everything. So let's pull it out and take a look at it. Did I say B&F before? The $330 price point is actually RTF, or ready to fly with the radio here. The unit I have here arrived without a radio, so I bound it to this one and I had to set up the channels because I didn't know what they're supposed to be. Not the end of the world. CleanFight is super easy to work in, and it also means, of course, you can tweak your settings to exactly how you want this aircraft to fly. So the main thing we're going to pull out here is the aircraft itself, and you can really see how clean this is. Walkera has come a long way in their designs. Let's put this down and just gonna empty the box and then we'll come back to the aircraft. In the box here, I have 4 propellers, and Walkera typically ship all their products with 2 sets of propellers, so I'm gonna expect they do that with this one also. The stock battery it comes with right here is a 4S 1300 60C battery. So this is really a battery intended to rip with. Walkera says this battery is going to run for about 6 to 8 minutes. That sounds about right if you're flying conservatively. I'm getting 4 to 5 minutes, which is also about right if you are ripping into it a bit. As usual with Walkera's ready to fly FPV quads, they're still shipping the Devo 7 with it. The Devo 7 is a very good older standby radio, and unlike a lot of the plastic radios we see with wannabe racing quad designs, this one here is an actual radio. So I'm super happy with this radio. It has the sticks, you can control it, you can set up your CleanFight to operate the way you want, and of course it comes bound and set up from the factory. You got flight modes. Right up here on the shoulder is flight modes, and what I did was, I don't like to be messing around, so on the bottom I have horizon, which is stabilized, then I have rate mode, and I have air mode on top. Also because I like to have all my radios with all the switches pushed up before I start flying. Walkera on F3 controllers always do the stick down and to the left. I've actually been changing that and putting arm up here. So in order to start, I have to arm it here, and now I'm ready to go. And when I crash land, I just flip my finger up and I turn it back off. So that's how I like my radio. I have my modes over here and I have my arm here. And on my Spectrum radio, I have used the switch on the shoulder for my arm. I'm just gonna pull the rest of the stuff out here. We have a 4S charger. The 4S charger comes with a little power cable. Here is the little toolbox. I love that Walkera always includes tools in their kits. It comes with the 2 Allen wrenches you need, and it also comes with a little wrench that can release the nuts for the propellers. I gotta say, these propellers, when you impact, or if you impact, crash land somewhere, they have a tendency to lock themselves down, and this little wrench is on the small side. I would go down to the hardware store and pick up a complete wrench, so not a socket wrench, but just a long wrench, so you can get a really good grip on the propeller in case you do crash, which of course guys like I tend to. Some of you guys are rock star pilots and never crash, so for you it won't matter. There. Oh, in the bottom here is another thing that shows kind of how cool the Devo 7 radio is. This little cable here is a student trainer cable. And over here on the back of all the Devo 7s is a little plug for these two pins. That allows you to plug this cable into an other similar radio so that you can fly pilots or fly student and instructor. And flipping a switch on your radio, you can take over from the student when the student is about to crash. Now, I think the student radio thing was more popular in the old days because people was flying gliders 30 seconds up in the air. So when you started to lose control, flip the switch. Okay, I've got it. I'm flying for you now. And when it's all level again, flip the switch and the student gets it back. When we are flying proximity FPV between trees and branches, to be honest with you, by the time you crash, well, you already crashed. And by the time you see you're about to crash, the instructor is seeing it at the same time and you're already eating it. So it's not that easy to be doing instruction on FPV low-level racing flights. You're just gonna have to go out there, crash some stuff and learn how to fly. So I said I was gonna show you a little bit more about how the included charger works. This one is actually really good. This is the 4S charger Walkera picked up and started shipping with their F210 unit. So it's still a fairly new unit, and what I do is I plug in the power cable here in the one end. You can see it goes right in there. You probably already know that I like to use just the little plugs instead of the full cable because it's less mess in my back when I go somewhere. In the other end here, it does not accept the yellow plug. So it does charge a little slower, but it's still a fairly fast charger. The way you charge here is you simply take the balance tap and you just plug it in, and now you're ready to charge. I kind of like the simplicity of this because that's really all there is to it. You just have to plug it in and it keeps going. When it turns green, the little light up on the shoulder here, you're done charging. Plug it back out. And I have a couple of other S4 batteries here, and guess what? It fits right in here. Now, the battery I have here is an S4 2200 battery, and that is just too big. I wish I could fly with that for longer flight times, but then again, for racing, this doesn't really matter. But if you were wanting to get long, just putzing around flight times, then you could kind of mount it a little bit upwards and it will fit. I'm gonna show you how that works. But I have been using these little ones here, also 1300 milliamps and 4S. Inexpensive, easily obtainable on the internet, and they fit exactly on there. Let's take a look at the aircraft. So here's the aircraft, and you can see the design Walkera has put together here looks completely different from pretty much anything else they have done before. You remember the kind of like the one-piece F210, and of course the F or the Rodeo 150 was also kind of a one-piece bird. With this one, the 215, we are looking at essentially a fairly contemporary mini race quad. It's a great little quad, super easy to fly. It also doesn't come with twist-on props, it just simply has lock nuts and the little tread right here. What that means is you can put any prop you want on there. I'm typically partial to 2 props or 3 props, but you can also get a 4 prop on here. Let me show you the battery. So we have a Velcro strap here. I'm gonna try to open it. And the battery needs to go in kind of with the battery towards the end, like that. And what you do is you just tighten it down and it's mounted, and the battery goes in and plugs in right here. Notice how they embedded the XT60 plug into the butt So it's protected. If you crash, you're not gonna rip it off. And I also like that it's easy to get to and plug in like this. Just like that. You can see the lights on the back here. Notice this one going off, and I should hurry up and unplug that, because see what I didn't do? You need to have an antenna before you plug it in. This ships with a left-hand circular polarized antenna. Now I'm just gonna screw that thing right in here. Like that. That's how you fly with it right there, and you can see when you get a little speed, because you want this type of antenna to be pretty much level with the horizon. So this is where the antenna is level, and then you want to go up and make sure that the camera is also level when you fly at the angle you typically fly at. So I'm fairly slow. There's some guys that fly like this. That's not me. I fly right about here, so I have my camera about halfway up. You can see right there, but if you are one of the guys that really rips, you can actually tilt it all the way up like that. I'm gonna tilt it back down again to about halfway. That's about like that. That's how I fly. Like I said, I'm kind of slow. So we looked at this, and I'm gonna show you how I stacked the yellow battery, because here's the thing. This is the center line of the design right here between the two lines. And if you grab this with your fingers with the battery on, this should be balancing. So putting a monster battery on there, you cannot go up to the natural stop, because guess what? Now it's tail heavy. So you have to kind of like twiddle it up a little bit to about here, grab hold of it, and twist it down. Now the antenna gets a little bit bent out of shape, but such is life. So you can get away with that. To be honest with you, it's okay, but the thing gets really sluggish and uncomfortable to fly. So stick with 1.3, maybe 1500 milliamp. As 1500 milliamp should do you really good. This one is too big, but that's okay, because this is a race quad. Let's take a little bit of a look at the arms here. This is 4 millimeters. Carbon fiber. I want to say this is probably 4 millimeters of the carbon fiber, glass fiber mix that Walkera likes to use. The 4 millimeters has proven incredibly tough, so I'm quite comfortable with the strength of these arms. Now here's something new for Walkera. Look at these 3 screws right here, and they has nothing up here. This is where the screws end right there. Pulling these 3 out will release the arm. And when you look at the ESC that's sitting right here, look at these solder pads. Basically, you release that, you unsolder these and pulls it out. What it means is Walkera has gone away from the quick connect ESCs, and probably for good reason. I have never had problems with a quick connect ESC on the F210. However, I would much rather have this easy to connect. Boom, boom, boom. I have a solder iron in my car when I fly anyway. That means I've got 100% connection every time. So it's a simple solution. And notice the ESC is actually not attached. It just kind of floats around here. So it's soldered to the motor, and it's soldered to the solder pads. And when you buy a spare arm, it arrives with the motor and the ESC. All you have to do is stock it in and solder it to the 3 solder pads in the order the cables came out of the ESC. So you basically buy these replacement arms as right hand or left hand. You can also buy just the carbon fiber and transfer motor and ESC to a new arm, assuming you didn't destroy the motor or the ESC. So that's basically it here. The important thing you notice down here in the design, the 4 millimeter arm comes in, and you can see there's a cut right here, and then it comes out here. So these 2 arms are actually different arms. In other words, there's 4 individual arms here that can be each of them released by releasing the 3 screws holding them. Now, flipping this around, here you can see the micro USB connector for the F3 flight controller. That, as I said, it comes with Clean Flight. And I believe that was the September 2016 version of Clean Flight that's on here. So about time, Walkera, a current modern flight controller software, highly recommended. I'm happy to see that. On the back here we have the lights, so you get some light for the guys chasing behind you to easily see you when you get in and out of shadows. That is great. I would like to have lights out on the arms here, like a big monster bad light that kind of clips onto the arm on both sides, like a clip on here. That would be awesome, just because I like to have a much wider light signature. But that's just me. It has plenty of light here. It's easy to see when you fly. Of course, you don't fly this line of sight. You fly in this goggles, and you want the guy behind you that hopefully never will be passing you to clearly see where you are, so he's not going to crash into you when he gets too close. Down on the bottom here, we've got these little foot or motor protectors. This comes up here. See how it kind of goes up and wraps around and covers the motor? That actually protects the motor in a crash. I honestly suspect that if you crash this really hard, you are going to break this plastic thing on the motor protector. Not a big deal. I usually just set the thing in the grass when I take off and fly, so I don't really need the feet at all. But some people like to have neat feet, but it doesn't matter for me. Let's take a quick look here. Inside here you can see that is the radio. So that is the 5.8 gigahertz radio right here. And it's kind of a little hard to get to. You have to go through this hole here with like a long screwdriver or one of the little Allen wrenches that's included in the kit. And you can go through and you can toggle through the frequencies to set the frequency before your flight start. Now, while we're on the topic of the 5.8 gigahertz video transmitter, there's a couple of things to mention here. First of all, one of my favorite new things here, I'll just turn this on, you can see some lights in it. Try to hold this down till it goes on here. Now it's saying it's ready to bind. I'm obviously not going to bind it because I'm just showing it to you, but this is a Team Black Sheep race tracker. It is absolutely genius. Basically what it does is every time you pass it flying laps, so this is for when you fly laps, like at home or wherever you like to go and fly by yourself to practice getting faster, smoother flying. The way it works is you connect to this using your smartphone and an app called Drone Squad. So the Drone Squad app connects to Race Tracker and you select the frequency you're flying. Now as you pass this thing, it will notice the time when the video signal is the strongest and it will give you the lap time. And what that does is, as I'm flying around, every time I pass it, my phone says 14 seconds, 17. 22 seconds, if now it said 22 instead of 14, I'm obviously going a lot slower. So hearing what my lap time is every time I come around makes me go faster because I'm going, wow, I'm slowing down. I gotta really work on it. And then you start working, can I shave 1 second off here? Can I get a little better? Because you hear like the half second. So if you pick up one of these and your ambitions is to start racing mini quads, this is a highly recommended accessory simply because this allows you to sit down and practice by yourself without somebody else to race against and really get good and get a lot of speed going because you constantly hear how you're improving or things are working well or not so well. So the Team Black Sheep race tracker, go check it out on Team Black Sheep. And now back to the real star of this show, the Walkera F215, which is a mini quad racing thing. And of course we want to see video from this. Now, I usually use my Fat Sharks. And for years I've been using my Fat Sharks on the standard Fat Shark receiver. The Fat Shark receiver is a little bit off compared to Walkera's chosen frequencies. So it's not always easy to see the Walkera frequency. So recently I picked up one of these. It is a diversity receiver, costs $90, and now I get rock solid, very easy setup of my video. Now that's about several $100s worth of goggle. The other solution, if you're just getting into this, check out one of these. This is a Goggle 4 from Walkera. It's got an enormous screen and it runs off a USB battery on the back side. It does come with a built-in USB battery right here, but the upside is this is outright a USB plug, and you could plug that into any USB power cell or USB power source to run the goggles if you're running low on battery here. These goggles will see all 40 frequencies, so you can basically see all the frequencies out there. So if you're starting out, these are about $160. You can also grab some entry-level goggles like this one, about $60, but frankly, they look like $60. I think you look a whole lot slicker with these ones with a monster screen for about $160. So the only thing you need to start flying here is goggles, and then you need the aircraft. So about $330 to get into this one here, which is frankly an incredibly good little quad. I really love the F210, and this thing is a lot better. It's easier to do service, and it's also just easier to fly. It doesn't quite want to run away from you as much as the 210, but it also doesn't have a lot of the metal weight. Funnily enough, it's almost identical weight-wise to the 210. Probably because we got longer, thicker arms that kind of makes up for having shaven something off the over top here. That's probably how that happened. Anyway, that's the thing. It comes with 2 sets of propellers. It comes with a battery. Comes with a charger, and it comes with the radio for roughly $330 US. Check it out online, and do let me know what you think about it, and we're certainly going to try to follow up with some more about it. If you notice what I see, look at this screw here, and this screw here, and this screw there, and these screws here. They've got different colors. All of these screws did not come from the same bin. So this definitely is a very cool prototype. I think it's gonna get all the colors and everything right by the time it ships, and it should be shipping in March 2017. So that's coming up very, very quickly. But right now, I put about 10 batteries on it. Super good experience, highly recommend it. Check it out online. And make sure you click and subscribe for more FPV guide videos. That should be right down in the corner right here. Just click where it says subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.